The following information I am about to divulge to you is sensitive. I am putting myself at great risk to show you all this, but I believe that what I have discovered is detrimental to our survival, the human species as we know it. Nothing is ever going to be the same.
Hello everyone, 7 October's here with LatinHorror.com. Today we have a really dope guest, an independent filmmaker, Michelle Nessk.
Hi.
Hey, today we wanted to discuss your film, O UNILATERALIS. I suck at pronouncing it, I'm sorry. I probably butchered it, but it came out in 2016 and it was on the film festival circuit, and then it was vaulted and now you're re-releasing it, so...
Well, first, thank you for having me on your show, and thank you for watching my movie. O Unilateralis had a really good response when it was first released, and I opted to vault it, and after some small changes, it is being re-released. It's running in festivals again. It's taken home quite a few awards, which is really exciting.
I'm really tired.
Wait, what?
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Okay,
I'm really tired.
Hold on, wait, Abby. Well, I don't. You don't want to know what it's like.
I'm really tired.
Okay,
I'm sorry.
Abby.
Good night.
Wait, no, Abby. Wait, hold on.
Pretty interesting film. Before we get into it, I kind of wanted to get to know a little bit about you, a little bit about your background for those who might not know who you are. Like I mentioned, you're a jack of all trades and you do a little bit of everything. So if you can maybe speak on how you got into filmmaking and so forth, and what do you enjoy to do the most as far as either directing, acting, makeup effects? What's your favorite?
I love being a filmmaker. Just, I feel like it's a well-rounded term, because I love producing as well, and I can't really pick a favorite, maybe directing or acting, but there's so many different exciting things. Like with practical effects, there's this rush that you get when you're putting together a build, right? And you're like, oh, you only get this one shot, and after that one shot, that's it. And if your build doesn't work, that's on you. And it's a very scary feeling, but it's such a rewarding feeling, like the dopamine rush when it goes perfect. And it's you're kind of like, it's the one thing that leaves me kind of feeling shaky afterwards. So I'm like, As far as how I got into it, I would say I always wanted it, even when I was little. So I tell people this long list of things that I wanted to do in the art and entertainment industry, and they'd all be like, oh, Michelle, you got to be more realistic. Think about being like a waitress or a nurse or, something realistic. And I kind of, not in a bitter way, but I resented that, because I was like, how are you going to tell me that I could become president of the United States and then turn around and tell me consider being a waitress when I want to be a filmmaker? Come on, if I can be president, I can make a movie. And I'd probably be better at making movies, because I'm way too irresponsible to ever be president. So I think Canadian television was a major push for me, and then the Canadian television showed a lot of reruns and a lot of old movies, especially at nights on the weekends. So I caught Red-Blooded American Girl, and I caught a lot of giallo films like Sister of Ursula, Suspiria, Cat o' Nine Tails, and all these movies, and then there was this one show, Kids in the Hall. And I actually didn't know until I was an adult that it was a Lorne Michaels production. I thought it was just some guys with a camera and a stage making skits, and that was the gist of it. I didn't know there was a real budget behind it, but it made me think, I could do those things. And then I discovered Zombie Orpheus Productions films, Gamers and Gamers Darkness Rising, which is a local Washington, film series. Again, I was struck with that feeling like this is amazing, and it's low budget and it's amazing. And, you know, I had made some little films when I was in school and stuff, and I wrote my first play when I was in third grade, and and that got played throughout like the cities and the counties, and then it got moved into Canada and stuff for a little bit, just a short, but it was encouraging. I was like a PA on a bunch of productions. Like I still to this day I think about this one production, and it was with a really great company. They're Emmy Award winning, but we were doing a commercial for like a cell phone service company, and I was in it, but I was also like I did a good job as a PA too. But so I did that for a while, and then I started working with different people who have gone to film school and stuff like that, and I didn't go to film school. And I didn't know how to edit. I didn't know the proper formatting for a script. I just knew I wanted to do these things. I apprenticed with Cleve A. Hall, the Monster Man from the Sci-Fi Channel. He was my special effects mentor and a really great fellow. And I've had a lot of really great mentors over the years. Walter Oakwitz, he was in Twin Peaks and stuff, and he was basically like my industry mentor of like, consider this, do you want to be a character actor, or are you more serious, like he always had really good input. I learned how to edit from Gary Washington from Bleedingham. On my birthday, we stayed up for 8 hours working on a trailer that I made, and it was like my first real super serious like attempt at making something that looked like with like flesh on it and everything. That's basically how I did it, because again, like a kid with no money, I had to find a way to work around that.
You were like creative. You got creative with it.
Yeah, your system, man.
Yeah, that's really inspiring though to hear, because I'm kind of trying to learn how to be a filmmaker myself. So to hear that you didn't have like training or go to school for it and you still made it happen is really inspiring.
Ladies and gentlemen, we do apologize, but we are currently experiencing technical difficulties with our navigation system. Apparently, Captain Queef here can't read the map.
Oh, ha. You want to come up here and do this?
No, I'm good. Right back here, making fun of you.
Well, for your information, I found the back way. It's just going to take a lot longer than we wanted it to.
Are we going to make it?
Oh, yeah, we'll make it just fine. It's just going to be a lot bumpier than this. And we're going to end up spending the night out here. But we have a tent, so...
Okay.
Yeah. About that...
Troy, I swear to God, you better not have forgotten that tent.
Come on, I'm kidding. Loosen up. Don't be old blaspheming in front of Miss Abby here.
O UNILATERALIS. You said it was vaulted and everything, and now it's back. It's going to be re-released, and it's going to be with a distributor. And I really thought it was really a great cause. What you're doing is the profits are going to be going to my sister's house, which is a safe house for survivors of domestic violence. And how did that relationship get built, and how did that come about?
I reached out to my sister's house the first time back in 2017 on behalf of Love Horror Events for their event Louder Than Wolves. It's an important topic to me. I've known so many women and children in my life who are no longer with us because they were in that situation, and I know so many people who have survived it, including myself. And when you realize, when you see it up that close, like there isn't a lot of outlets to help people who truly need it. And with everything that all these different people claim to hold to high esteem, importance, like human life and everything else, it's amazing how these women and children in particular, and men, they are overlooked going through this. But yet we know the statistics. We know what happens every few minutes. It's one of the things I'm most passionate about is helping survivors get away from it and helping them see that that does not, like, if they can get through it and if they can get on, move forward, they will see that that feels like a different lifetime. And that's also a really important feeling because, like, and it's important to remind people of that because when you're in the midst of it, it feels like that's it. This is who I am. This is what, you know, defines me as a person, but it doesn't. Like, you have to just keep going. And so my sister's house is really big about that. And I love the fact that they help all women and children, but they do put an onus on helping Pacific Islander women, Asian women, BIPOC women of all kinds, because a lot of these services put those women on the back burner and they will help other women instead. And so that's why I really love my sister's house, because they offer an immediate helping hand to people who would otherwise be put on a waiting list.
He means, do you smoke pot?
Ooh, pot. Marijuana. Reefer madness.
Oh my, what? Okay, seriously, Abby, I gotta know, where the hell are you from?
Troy.
What?
No, I get it. I'm actually from Iowa, and I grew up on a farm, and, I've been sheltered, Yeah, and, my mom is really strict. There's no TV in our house. She feels television is sinful. But I have gotten to watch some shows at church, and one of which was Reefer Madness.
Oh, man. So, all my esoteric references are lost on you then.
All your esoteric references are already played out anyway, man. She's not missing anything.
The movie released in 2016, you directed it, you wrote, and you starred in it, which I thought was really interesting and really dope. Can you share a little bit about the concept for those who have not seen it, like a little bit of the premise? And then I kind of want to see like where the concept came from, because I thought it was really cool. I just watched actually another film on Netflix called The Privilege. I don't know if you've seen it, but it's about, like, it just dropped on Netflix maybe like a couple weeks ago, and it's about same thing, like a mushroom type of fungus that takes over these people's bodies. And I thought, I was like, oh my god, I just literally saw Michelle's film, and it kind of goes together. But how did that concept, because I thought it was really, really cool and original.
So back in 2012, we had those incidents that happened after the chemical spill at the Miami International Airport, and then we had the Miami zombie, and then we had the Jersey Devil. The guy was like throwing his intestines at the police. And then there was the man who was at the airport and flew back to Poland. And at the dinner table with his family, he literally ate his wife's face.
I remember that one. Yeah.
There were a bunch of those. Like, and it was all these different people that had contact with the Miami International Airport. And I'm sitting there freaking out. It's 2012. I'm just like, goodness gracious, we're gonna die. And so so I started working out this story, and I was like, zombies are happening, but like, are there things like, because I that's one of my phobias is zombies, like waking up and there's the zombie apocalypse. Like I have 3 phobias, okay? Violent men, zombies, and like Nazis. Those are my phobias. Like, that's it. Everything else I can totally handle. Basket of spiders, lay it on me. But like, and that was what it was. Is I was sitting there and I was like, man, zombies are scary, but what do you have to deal with if you're in the middle of a zombie apocalypse? Like, what kind of people would be surviving? Wait, those are the same people who are here now. And I was helping a friend out with the situation, and I thought about all the situations I'd been in before that, and all the situations all these different people I've known have been in. And I was like, wow, the one thing that's literally scarier than zombies is becoming a statistic to a violent man's hands, and having someone there who should be able to help you but instead they're just a symbiotic enabler. And so like, and that's like the real, that's the rub of the story, is like, there's these things taking place, but the horror of it is secondary towards just living in this world in the body of a female who is conditioned and groomed by society to be appeasing to the male gaze, to male demands, male requests, to learn how to accommodate when they make you feel uncomfortable. And that's like, everything from like, oh, Uncle Jimmy's coming over, put on a better shirt,
Yeah.
or when guys say something weird and you're in front of a group of people, and if you tell them, I will fucking cut you, and everybody's like, ooh, she's a psycho, when it's like, so, poor him, he couldn't put his hands on you or do something heinous, and you're the bad one because you had the wherewithal to stick up for yourself. And so,
Yeah.
character I play, Abby, is like, she's every woman all at once. She's a combination of every woman's experience happening, all the learned behavior of like, yes, I will be very much accommodating to you. How can I do everything for you right now?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so yeah, it's a wild story that I just really wanted to tell. And so crowdfunded for it. There was a lot of response from friends and people that I've worked with, and then people I didn't even know, that I didn't know who they were. And like, the movie got so much support and it was able to be made, and there were so many strange incidents in the process of making the movie that it was like, wow, I wonder if this is ever even going to get finished. And like, then it was.
Yeah, I'm glad you touched on that, because that's what I liked about the film too. The fact that it wasn't just like a zombie movie; it had all these undertones and all the other themes in the background of, like you said, like sexual assault, all these topics that are not really like talked about from like a female perspective. Because I like the fact that it was from, you wrote it, you directed it, and it's like a female lens. And I was talking about this film with Christian Moran, who's also part of Latin horror. Shout out to him. The fact that you didn't over sexualize the act of the sexual assault, because I feel like when it comes from a male director, they tend to sexualize on those acts. And I just love the fact that you didn't sexualize the act, but you kind of like, you showed from a female lens, and I appreciate it. I don't know if you noticed that when you were doing it.
The filming of it, ironically, is there was a lot of pushback on set, and, well, maybe it should be done this way, or maybe it should be done that way. And I was like, no, because that way and that way kind of lends a sense of eroticism, and there's nothing erotic about it. Like, we are literally going to go through the lens of this man and what he's doing. It's going to be exactly what it is. We're not going to redress it to the male fantasy. We're going to see exactly what the camera sees, so we can only assume. Like, it doesn't matter what his perception is. What matters is the naked eye. And that was, and that was why it was so important to me. It was like, oh, well, can't we imply it? And I was like, no, why would he imply it? Like, this is what he does. Like, and I think it's kind of stems from an instinctual need from certain types of individuals where, like, they do what they do, but they don't want to actually, like, have the naked truth out in front of them, of what, and so it's kind of like when you watch old movies like Blue Lagoon. We've got literal teenagers being sexualized, right? Everything's shot with a fantasy view, but if you're actually looking at, like, if it was done like a found footage film and you're actually looking at it, the fantasy and the, like, forced eroticism of it doesn't exist. It's all within the eye of the beholder. So I wanted it to be brutal. It was really hard to film. It was something else,
I just wanted to make this one special, I wanted to have a special moment with my best friend. And he couldn't fucking see that.
you're pretty vocal and open about you being a survivor yourself. When you're making these type of films and like writing for this like subgenre, is it therapeutic for you, you feel, or like healing, or is it still something difficult, like you were mentioning right now with, for example, that scene? How does that work for you?
It's definitely difficult, but then I think the therapeutic part comes when I get to instill a fantasy eye of karmic retribution.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the truth is, when it comes to when I make these characters, they are these characters that we all run into in our lives.
Mm-hmm.
For me, they're like a stress doll, and making those characters get put through the ringer and maybe not even come out okay. Um, that's the therapy for me. That it's for me, it's a happy ending when that happens. So it's like with my films, that's where the fantasy part comes in, because it's like we've already looked at the reality of it, and we all we have to live with what we just looked at, and we also have to live with what we see when we go out our door or even within our own homes. So let's just go ahead and make these guys suffer on film for a bit. And I've been
Exactly.
accused of making some torture porn,
Yeah.
when it comes to punishing these kinds of male characters or female characters,
Mhm.
the characters that do bad things to people. We've all grown up with horror movies punishing sluts and nerds and everything else. Like, I'm sorry, but this is the demographic. Like, I'm the demographic that wants to see those ones survive and the bad guys get punished.
Exactly. Yeah, that's what I loved about your film, and I want to thank you again for your time and for discussing it with us, and keep doing what you're doing. It's like really inspirational as far as for me too, like as a female. And I don't like categorizing like female male filmmakers, because I think a filmmaker is a filmmaker, but I just think
Exactly.
it's really inspiring. So keep doing what you're doing, and we thank you for being here at Latin Horror today.
Thank you for having me.
Wait. What the fuck?